Well, this past weekend, we showed you how volunteers showed up to clean up the Champlain Island beaches for spiny softshell turtles.
And while Vermont's Fish and Wildlife Department works to get a healthy population of those turtles, our Ike Ben David learns more about a new concern for the threatened species in this Wildlife Watch.
The spiny softshell turtles are a main attraction at the Eco Center in downtown Burlington, not only as an exhibit, but also a chance to give the turtles a head start at life.
We're working with Vermont Fish and Wildlife to do this program to support the species out in the wild.
The goal is to raise the young turtles away from any predators and release them back into the wild. Turtles are now starting to go into hibernation for the winter. Eggs are brought to Echo from the wild and hatch in captivity. The eggs start in shell like in the wild, then when hatched they're wrapped in moist paper towels till eventually they're moved to water.
What's really interesting this year is we're seeing some issues with the health of some of these animals. And what's happening is some of them aren't hatching out, which can be normal, but then some of them are hatching out, and then they seem to be lacking normal responses to environmental conditions or their actions. Like they're lacking good locomotor function.
Director of Facilities and Animal Care, Steve Smith, did some research.
It's really odd. We haven't seen this before.
And found a study online citing similar issues.
Florida State University had an article about this, that when they were seeing wave action on sea turtle nest sites, animals were coming out of those nests exhibiting locomotor issues where they weren't able to move. And so that's what we're seeing here. They just don't seem to be as fit, and it could be because of the high amount of rain we had this year, the elevated water levels. Some of these nests may have been underwater, and when that happens, when there's a lot of water in the substrate or they're underwater, they could be oxygen deprived at critical developmental periods.
He thinks it could have an impact.
We could see a slight dip in the population in the future because there wasn't a lot of reproduction this year. It's hard to say. And is this a continuing trend, or is this an isolated change?
And there is concern about other species that are not being monitored as closely as the spiny softshell turtle.
So you have to wonder, is this more extensive in the reptile world or in the turtle world, that it's just a change that's occurring based on possible climate change? And you can also argue that it could be that this is a change that happens this year, and maybe there are a few turtles that nested higher, and so theirs weren't underwater, and maybe those are the ones that become the new bank of new genes of new animals that nest differently and are successful.
The extent of the impact to the turtles won't be known for a few years. In Burlington, Ike Ben David, Channel 3 News.